Kevin, Tom and Sophie were blocking the exit. "Now, gang!" shouted Velma. The 5 of them collectively screamed. This was the zombies' cue. They made their way down the tunnel and came up from behind Kevin, Tom and Sophie. The zombies didn't pose much of a threat, at least not as individuals, but as a group. They threw themselves upon the cat creatures, both Kevin and David's groups. Neither party was innocent. Both groups had drained many, many lives, and now the souls of those lives had risen up again.
Enough of this. Forget these souls, they have already been drained. Let David's group die. There is enough there for us to drain the life force and resurrect Simone and Lena,
screeched Kevin, throwing the zombies off him as they piled up onto him. He was then able to release himself. He began to pounce for the gang. However, David was able to get the zombies off of him as well, and pounced back. A literal catfight ensued.
Now's your chance. Run! Get out of here! I'm sorry I got you into this.
David warned the gang. They didn't need telling twice. The gang made their way back down the tunnel, back into the house. Shaggy and Scooby were both about to leave through the front door. However, Velma grabbed Shaggy by the shoulder, and Daphne grabbed Scooby by his tail. The two looked back at them in confusion.
What's the big idea?
Shaggy demanded.
We can't just leave. Despite everything he's done, we have to try and help David stop the curse,
exclaimed Daphne.
Oh, I don't think so,
a voice muttered. The gang turned to see a police officer in the corner, holding them at gunpoint.
You see, Kevin has promised me immortality, so unfortunately, I cannot let you go,
the officer said, gesturing for the gang to return down the tunnel. The gang had no choice but to do what the officer said. They made their way down the tunnel. Once they got to the underground cave, they found that most of the zombies had been ripped apart. Heads, arms, legs, just lying scattered on the ground. Still moving, still twitching, still the moaning and crying of the souls. Both cat creature groups were now fighting with each other, Kevin clawing at David's face, David retaliating by kicking Kevin off him.
I have done as you asked. I have brought them back,
the officer announced to Kevin. Kevin picked up David and threw him against the cave wall.
Excellent. You shall be well rewarded with immortality. Bring them forward,
Kevin demanded. The officer made the entire gang step forward and kneel on the ground. Kevin stepped forward. He was about to start draining them. However, a bullet shot at his feet. The shot came from back down the tunnel. Another figure emerged, holding the same type of gun as the officer. However, the gang immediately recognized him. It was Detective Bo, who had nearly been drained himself by Simone and Lena. He knocked the other officer to the ground, and then told the gang to follow him out. He explained on the way that he had never stopped investigating the events of Zombie Island. He had made sure that all of the magic wax was melted down and disposed of. He was never able to fully convince his superiors of what had really happened, but he did present enough evidence in order for them to close off the island to any tourists, which had made Kevin's group of cat creatures become very, very desperate. He also explained that when one of his lookouts saw a helicopter leaving Zombie Island and returning with 4 passengers and a dog, he guessed that it would be Scooby and the gang, so he took it upon himself to make his own way to the island, ahead of the rest of his team's investigation. Unfortunately, the lookout was also the traitor, the officer who had wanted immortality to himself. When the gang finally arrived outside, Bo ran to a large metal briefcase that he had taken to the island. Inside were explosives. Bo was also trying to end the curse once and for all by destroying the house and the cave.